Or you could go with this, or you could go with that. Or you could go with this, or you could go with that. Or you could go with this, or you could go with that. Or you could go with us. Oh, hi, prospective owner. Welcome to the episode 2 of the Cord Electric Player's Guide. We're going to take a look this episode on player contracts, which is arguably the most complicated part, combined with the keepers based on these contracts, the most complicated and in-depth part of the Cord Electric system. So we wanted to give you an overview of exactly how the salary structure works, and probably in next episode we'll specifically look at the keeper system itself, but we want to keep this one nice and tight. So we're going to first take a look at an individual player page here. I've got Anthony Davis, who happens to be a rookie, of course, second year in the league on my team. Now, you can see if you look at an individual player page, you can see that each player has a salary. In this case, Anthony Davis's is $3.7 million this year, the second year of his rookie contract. Now, before we even get to that, I suppose, real quick, again, Cord Electric idea and the financial system is obviously very involved, very complex. But the idea is to simulate the real-world contracts that we see in the NBA. Now, if you take a look at cbafact.com, and this is Larry Kuhn's page where he interprets the entirety of the salary cap. He's basically the non-NBA, non-team affiliated authority on the NBA salary cap. This is what we use to base our entire system on. Now you can see that the actual NBA salary cap is fairly extremely complicated, much more complicated than the MLB's revenue sharing system, even more complicated certainly than the NFL system, who obviously has a lot more players and a relative hard cap, even more complicated than that, the amount of exceptions and all the other things that we can do, Larry Bird, early bird, non-bird, taxpayer mid-levels, exceptions, all these different kind of things. Now, we've distilled what I would say the essence of the NBA's salary cap system without actually literally needing, hundreds and hundreds of questions. We only maybe have dozens of them that we've sort of translated the collective bargaining agreement from the NBA to our fantasy system. So we've tried to do the most complete job that we can while still not going absolutely crazy with the complexity. But I know even on its own, quite honestly, if you don't like getting into the idea of NBA contracts and its salary cap, this league may be a rough go for you without hiring an accountant. So, but let's take a look at the system here. As long as we understand a few major principles, I really think that the system can be grasped, but those do need to be articulated cleanly. So let's first take a look at Anthony Davis here. We've got Anthony Davis contract, $3.7 million. He has a contract for in his second year of a 3-year deal, where first-round pick rookies would get that are picked in our rookie draft. He is a rookie contract. Now, he will have a third year, which is at $3.9 million. We'll take a look at all those contracts and things in the Cord Electric program page in just a bit. But we do want to show, you do see everything on the website, on your team page, about those players. Now, for rookies, they happen to have what we call a qualifying offer, which means in the fourth year of their contract, they are actually restricted free agents, which means that other teams can try to sign them away from their original drafting team. Those teams can always match, however, just like in the real NBA. We can always match. But what we have here, the qualifying offer, is $9.4 million want. And what is want? And that's a pretty key to our system and key to how we auction and how we give multi-year deals. So we're going to explain want in just a moment. But looking at, so the biggest important thing is that if you really don't care about all this stuff, the complexity of it, really what really matters is the salary for this season, the contract length, and then, of course, what the contract will be in the future. Contracts for rookies are unique, but they go up by a certain percentage. Rookies' contracts for veterans go up by 10%. So if we take a look at the team player page right here, we can see the salary structure for each player that I have. The players that have multi-year deals, some of these players are in their third year already, so they'll be their contract will be up next season. Players that are in their second season of a 3-year deal. You can see they have their salary here, $1.7 million for Ty Lawson, for example, and then year 3 it goes up to $1.9 million. Contracts for veterans go up by roughly 10% per year, as per very close to kind of the standard NBA contract. Real NBA contracts can get very complex with escalators, de-escalators, likely to achieve and unlikely to achieve incentives and all these kind of things, but we leave it fairly simple and just increase have an escalator of 10% per season, which we round up. So you can see each of your players' contracts, current contract listed here, the length of their contract. Under that, whether they're a regular signed player, a franchise player, we'll get to that in a future episode. If they are a rookie, or considering where we're at in the offseason right now, you have RFAs, which are restricted free agents. Any player that has contract is up, mostly players with 1-year deals, but also like next year when Derrick Rose's deal is ended or something, they are considered RFAs, which are restricted free agents. One of the keys that we need to remember for our contract system is that when players' contracts are done, instead of it as in the NBA, them being unrestricted free agents, in our league, they are all restricted free agents, which is different than the real NBA, but it allows us to retain our own players if we really want to, because we can always match the deals. Now, if you know the real NBA salary cap, you know that we are able to or the real NBA, if a player is a restricted free agent, like Nicholas Batum this season, where the Timberwolves tried to take away from the Portland Trail Blazers, he was a restricted free agent, which means other teams could bid on him, essentially sign him to an offer sheet, and but the Portland Trail Blazers could always match, which of course David Kahn's Timberwolves attempted to get Nicholas Batum unsuccessfully, because the Portland Trail Blazers did match the offer that the Timberwolves gave him. So exact same concept in our league, except for all players, when their contract is ended, they become RFAs, which means that other teams in a bidding process that we will get to in a future episode are able to try to take those players away from you. But if you really want to keep them, you can match the offer to them, as long as that doesn't go over the amount of keepers that you can actually have. So big keys here are, we have the individual salaries listed. We've got the contract lengths. We've got the type of contract, of course, which during the season, you'll have everybody as a signed deal for either a 1-year deal, 2-year deal, or 3-year deal. You'll have rookies, and then you'll also have potentially one franchise guy. And we will talk about that as well. And then you'll see their 3rd-year deal. We'll see their qualifying offers as they come in as well. But certainly the biggest thing that we have is this 1-year deal, or the current year deal, what they have. Remember that multi-year deals will increase by 10%. In the next episode, we're going to focus in on the Cord Electric Auction Program itself, which has the contract values and how this system actually works. But we spent this episode simply looking at the individual contracts for your players, and so we will end there. Next episode, we will go specifically into the program to delve deeper. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and we will see you